how many forms do I need, how many forms are there for major scale. This is the never-ending discussion when it comes to guitar players. The real question is, how can I organize everything that I know with one system that helps me throughout everything that I'm practicing? Because that was my problem, right? So I had 5 forms of the pentatonic, but then when I studied major scales, I used mainly 4, sometimes 6. But now I'm studying scales 3 notes per string, so I have totally different approach. So everything was very, very disconnected. And so I want to start by considering the very basic system of the guitar. I have an entire video, entire lesson on this YouTube channel on my free Skool that is octave relation. Why do I start from here? Bear with me, guys, because octave relation is something that teaches us how the guitar is made, right? So let's pick a note. Let's pick I would say D. All right, let's start from D today. By the way, you're gonna find a link to a free PDF about this in the description of this video. I'm starting with my D here, reverse form. I have another D here, substitute with my index, my findex. And I have another octave here, another octave here. My first string is same of 6th string, and I land here. This is another octave here, and this D here is 1 octave higher compared to this D here on fret 3. Now, step number 1, octave relation, so understanding where the roots of whatever we are studying that they are. Once I do that, step number 2 is understanding which chord form is related to this specific octave. Other thing that I'm mentioning here, the cage system. If you guys are not familiar with cage system, again, I have a free lesson on that, and I will do probably another video on the channel here, because some of you asked me actually for one. So today I'll give that for granted, and if you're interested, just jump on my Skool community. I have material on cage system there as well. Cage system, so this first octave here reminds you probably of a C chord. Obviously I gotta play that with my bar, but that's what it is. When I move to my next octave, this form here is an A form. My next octave here reminds you of a G form. I move on the other side of that. I have my E form right here. Next octave here, D form. And then I'm back home. So when I have these forms in mind, how many do I have? Cage system is a system based on obviously 5 forms. When I study scales, I can use the same exact system to map my fretboard, and so my scales, and so my triads, and so my chords, and so on. So let's start by, again, here. So this position here tells me already many, many different things. Tells me, first of all, the triads. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. When I have that, then I can complete my major scale on that side. Then what do? I connect here, and now I have my A form, and so the major scale form related to that. Then what do? I use my octave relation. I go up here. And I have my G form right there. Then what do? My next form was E. And then my next and last, D form. Now, these are 5 forms with the relative scale. So I wanna be able to see these 5 forms, the triad forms and the scale, in the same exact system in my head. So I can start from my C form. Moving to my A. To my G. D form, and I played all the forms. So every time I go either left to right or right to left, I want to be able to see those forms. D, moving into E. If I move on the left side, this is G. Moving to A form, to C form. And this is how I would personally organize my system, because this way, Triads is kind of the same system. Alright, so I have C form, I have A, when I'm here, jump here, I have G, E, D, and so on. It's always like a little switch where I switch from position to position, and I always describe it as like when you double click on a folder and everything opens. This is kind of what happens in the brain when you have very organized material. And what I'm always saying is that one of the main problems when it comes to positions and forms in general is that if you practice too much in one form, in one shape, then you get stuck into it, right? You have this feeling of like, oh, I'm always stuck in a form and I can't get out of it. I think for me, the best approach to that is to literally try to see two forms that are close to each other. For example, could be the C form and the A form. How can I connect them, right? And then staying on that position until it feels natural, until it feels like I can connect those two forms. And then when I can see that connection, I can move to the next A form with the G form. And do you see that when I do it this way, at least for me, it's less overwhelming, because I'm not thinking about the infinite possibilities. I'm thinking about how do I connect this form with this form, and I can still see them, but I can connect them. And then I move to the other two forms. And if you think about it, if your system is based on 5 forms, at the end of the day, that's all you're using. There are 5 forms, and you're just trying to find the best way to mix them. So let's try to do a little example. Let's say I want to mix the D form, for example, with A form, and see what works. So I found now this connection. It's a bit more of a stretch. I like this more, but when I go back, I can use string number 3. This is kind of a stretch in between the two positions, but nonetheless I can use that, right? If I'm going down, I start exploring that. So you get the point, yeah? So this is how I developed speed and fluidity in between positions, like literally breaking it down in, I have 5 forms, I just need to build connection between all of them, and then I feel much more confident when I go and when I change through positions, because I tried those changes many times. Same thing obviously you can do with triads forms. This video was mainly about 2 things. One, how to use octave relation and cage system to build this 5 form framework where you can read your entire fretboard and guitar using that. And then when you have that in place, you can have those 5 forms for major scale, for example, and connect form by form with a very solid foundation. I hope this was helpful. And if you want more content related to these kind of things, let me know. And I'll see you next time.